Imagine grabbing a handful of crayons and just going up and down the entire brain scan. You can't see anything. As a matter of fact, you can't even measure that because it looks like a snowstorm. They're having a full-on sensory experience without their senses. When a brain circuitry fires, a cluster of networks of neurons fire, 10 to 60 is usually normal. We were measuring 4 million microvolts of energy. That's 100,000 times normal. And whatever's going on between their ears is where reality is. They're rewriting their biology in 1 second. That in order for you to begin to tap into greater levels of consciousness, it'd be a good idea to sit down and close your eyes and disconnect from your external environment. Less sensory information coming into your brain. Play soft music in the background or put earplugs in your ear. That's less information coming from your environment, so your attention moves from your outer world to your inner world. Sit your body down and make it sit still and not let it get up and do things so it can experience things, to feel emotions, to eat, to smell, to do whatever, to taste. And if there's even less sensory information coming in because you're not moving your body around, then you're getting beyond your body. And if you're not thinking about tomorrow or the next day or your emails or your appointments or what happened yesterday or the emotions, and you can work on the present moment, that's the moment where you begin to fall into possibility, because in the quantum field, all potentials exist in the present moment. So then teaching people how to find the sweet spot of the generous present moment and allowing them to unfold into this realm, this infinite field of possibilities as a thought, that's when they begin to get beyond their body, their environment, and time, and that's when they begin to connect with a greater level of awareness. And our students, we've measured this now, our students can change their brainwaves and slip into this state in like 2 seconds, 4 seconds, 5 seconds, 9 seconds, 12 seconds, 13 seconds. We've measured it, and it's not like, hey, I'm getting to the quantum field before you. It's just kind of like, I know how to do this. And they've done it enough times, and we've been able to reproduce it now, and so a lot of people have the skill to be able to do it. And then to be able to linger there without thinking about your face or your wardrobe or your name or your gender or what you're going to eat or how long it's going to go, getting people past all of that stuff, that is when the magic happens every time. So the matter doesn't produce much of an effect on matter. It takes a long time for matter to influence matter. But when you become pure consciousness, consciousness is the epiphenomenon of matter, and that's when you can begin to exert greater changes on your body or on your life. When we run our advanced workshops, we start at 6 in the morning. Some of our advanced trainings, sometimes if we're going to create the mystical experience, we have people up at 4 because of brain chemistry. And I always say the same thing to the audience. Hey, look, those doors close at 4 o'clock. Well, I'm starting the meditation. If you don't make it in by 4 o'clock, I'm not going to take it personally. It just means you want your sleep more than the mystical. It means you want your comfort more than the unknown. It means you want your coffee or your shower or your cell phone more than you want to experience a new experience. So then people say, yeah, I have to wake up early. Well, we'll go to bed early. And well, I can't make time for it. Well, then that's a good reason why nothing will ever change in your life, because you probably don't have a lot of time for anything. So then make it a priority, and then, get out of bed. Don't meditate in bed. Get out and go sit somewhere and do it properly. And we've just replicated this model so many times over and over again that when people actually finally start to do it, they realize the hardest part of all of this is making the time to do it. Making time for your precious self to be a work in progress, to really invest in yourself, is to invest in your future. And I always say the same thing. Either you're going to be defined by a vision of the future, or you're going to be defined as a memory of the past. And when you stop creating, it just means you love your past more than you love your future. That's it. So then when people start to realize that they have the power to begin to produce changes in their life, to think differently, to act differently, and to feel differently, and to understand that even when you start slipping into these states, you will actually need less sleep because your body's in a restorative cycle, then you're breaking out of those normal conditioned beliefs that, you need certain things in order to live. And that's because you're studying normal. And what the hell is normal anyway? I don't even know what that is. I never think about time. I think about getting there. As an example, certain days it takes me an hour to find the present moment. And that's a day where I have to catch a flight and I have 30 emails to answer and 25 texts and calls to make and meetings to have before I leave town and kids to make sure they're doing okay. And I got 1,000 things to do that day, and it takes a little bit of time to get present. But I know the difference between when I'm there and when I'm not. If I get up and I don't really connect, I just wasted an hour. So Our students know the distinction between those two, so some days are easier than others. Some days you slip in and you just lock into that field, you know you're there, and you're up in 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour, or whatever you want. Other days I don't get up until I'm there, and it takes me longer. But I think if you spend 45 minutes, it's good solid 45 minutes on the average to an hour, and you make that time, and some people can do it in 10 minutes or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. I don't care. I just want people to really just start practicing, because they'll start noticing effects in their life. The first thing you have to do is you have to surrender to that infinite field of possibilities, because that's where everything material comes from. So getting people sometimes to that point, when you hit that point, a lot of times you feel so whole and you feel so complete, it's impossible to want. I mean, how do you want when you're whole? So there's a little paradox. But on another sense, though, that when you're in that place of where all possibilities exist, then, what thoughts do you want to fire and wire in your brain? What behaviors do you want to demonstrate in your day? The act of rehearsing in your mind the demonstration of those behaviors begins to install the neurological hardware to make the brain look like the experience has already occurred. That's what rehearsal does. So now the brain's no longer a record of the past. Now it's a map to the future. And now here's the key. And then can you teach your body emotionally what that future is going to feel like now? Which means you don't wait for your healing to feel wholeness. You don't wait for your success to feel empowerment. You don't wait for your wealth to feel abundance, or the mystical moment to feel awe, or the new relationship to feel love. That's the old model of reality of cause and effect. That's waiting for something outside of us to change how we feel inside of us. But the quantum model of reality is about causing an effect, which means when you start feeling whole, you begin to heal. When you start feeling empowered, you're going to become successful. When you start feeling worthy and abundant, you're going to get wealthy. When you start falling in love with yourself and life, you're going to meet an equal. When you're in awe of the moment, hang on, you're going to have a mystical event. So then your body is the unconscious mind. It doesn't know the difference between an actual experience in your life that produces an emotion and an emotion that you can create by thought alone.